Okay, euphoria. So we are in that dystopia, but we are not trying to get resources to survive. We are actually the people in charge of the dystopia. So we want to have as many workers stay here as we can. So to get them to stay, we need their morale to be high, and we need their knowledge to be low. So the game starts with middle knowledge at 3 and low morale. So the point of the game is to get as many, not as many, to get 10 points first. 10 stars out on the board in different spots that could get stars. So, how do we do that? How do we get stars out? Well, the entire game is basically rolling and placing. So these represent your workers. So blue has 2 workers with an intelligence level of 2 and 2. Red now has... Why is it being a 2? There we go. It shouldn't all be 2s. Alright, there we go. Whatever. Alright, so blue now has a 4 and a 5, which are pretty smart guys. Red has a 2 and a 4, which are dumb and smart. So, what happens now is they would be taking turns placing their worker in different spots on the board. So, let's look at the board of what we can do. There's 4 factions on the board. There's this sky faction that are living blissfully, which is the strange stuff, blissfully among the people in the sky. There's another faction over here that they're working the electricity. So they're the electric people. There's another faction over here living in the wastelands. They're trying to get food, which is food. And there's the underground people working, trying to get water. So they all have... Alright, I shouldn't say all. The 3 main factions are the ones not in the air. The ones in the air are different in all the spaces that you could put your workers. So let's just generally talk about these 3 ground ones. So, all 3 have 2 markets, which are these cards over here, markets. It's got a big M on it for market. And they all have generators. Generator, farm. Okay, sorry, they don't have all generators. They'll have a thing with a different name, but you can all do the same things on them. So the generator, the farm, and the aquifer. So let's say I want to go in this basic thing first. I would take a 4, put it in as my first turn. A 4 is between 1 and 4. So, for instance, if I went here, I would get the 1 electricity. And I would move the electric people's allegiance on the allegiance chart, which is over here. Allegiance track. So, E would go up 1 in the allegiance track. So this is one way to get points. You can keep going there, pushing the allegiance to get all the way across to the star at the end. Boom. And he gets a point. So that's one option. The market, as I mentioned, they all have 4 ways to build the market. They all have 3 stone. Okay, just kidding. They all have 3 stone. They'll have 3 of something, like in this case 3 stone, plus 1 other thing, in this case gold. 3 gold plus 1 other thing, which is stone. So you would have to eventually collect gold and stone by going onto a certain spot on the board. For instance, if you went to this spot, right here, if I put my dice there, where's my dice? I would have to pay 1 food. So if blue had 1 food in his hand, he would pay the 1 food. And then he could collect either a brick or an artifact. So let's say he took the brick, and then his other dice worker went on a spot that had a brick in the market. So he went there, he pays the brick. So in a 2-player game, you only need to fill 2 of these spots. So now there's only 1 more spot that needs to be filled here. So if blue had a brick or gold, or if red had a brick or gold, they can go there. So let's say blue went there. Again, boom. So now this is built. So what happens is, once it's built, you automatically get a point, which is good because you want to get points. But why this is really good is all of the markets, they have something that disables the other player. So in this case, you may not add workers when you have 2 or 3 workers. So for the rest of the game, red, or whoever else was playing in the game, if there was like 4 other people playing, you know, they would all have this penalty if blue was the only one that built this. So not only that, but if at some point anybody wanted to go here again, they can give up 1 artifact and 1 resource, and then they can put a star, a point, in territory. So everywhere's got territory, but it's limited. There's only 2 spaces I could put it in this territory because it's a 2-player game. In a 4-player game, there would be 4 spots. So some of your moves could be, hey, I really want to do this marketplace because it'll disable everybody, and then I really want to get my stars here to be the only one that can do that because the other people will eventually get blocked if I put all my stars here. So for instance, that's one move. So once it's built, sorry, I lied. The second time, once it's built, it slides over, then you would have to go here. And then you pay the artifact and thingy, like I said. So that's the market. A next thing is tunnels. Every time you put your dice in here, it's going to cost you 1 water. And then you can either take 1 stone or 1 artifact. And then once you put your dice here, this miner digs the tunnel. You know, same thing here. But in this case, instead of giving 1 water, you give 1 food, which is the orange thing. And then instead of taking this stone, I'm going to take this brick. And the miner's going to move across. So, there's 3 tunnels connecting the 3 bottom factions. So this connects the wasteland to the electric people. This tunnel over here connects the electric people to the water people. And then this tunnel here connects the water people to the wasteland people. So, why the tunnels are good is everybody starts off with a random person. So in this case, I have a blue person and a orange person. This would be face down, so only I would know about it, but all the players could see this one. And the same thing here. This guy would have 2 cards. One up, one down. So in this case, he's got 2 of the same people. So, what the tunnels are good for is, eventually, you can push somebody, the miner, all the way to this spot, which says turn over the card. So why that's good is, at the start of the game, once it's down, it's not just hidden from the other player. You can't use it. So for the whole game, I could use Chase the Miner. And he will give me a special power. When I place a worker on the tunnel, you may sacrifice that worker to gain extra resources. So basically, this guy's good to get me free resources throughout the game. Eventually, I can get my guy through the tunnel to turn over my other guy. And now I can have 2 recruits that are helping me do different little bonuses. So while one strategy could be at the start to get to the marketplace to disable everybody else, or you can use your miner to get to the card, and you can enable yourself to get little bonuses. Or thirdly, the last little opening strategy you could do is over here, worker activation tank. Eventually you can get more workers. 2 more workers are allowed to be, so you can have 4 workers total at some point. So over here you could pay 3 electricity to zap them, or 3 water to, splash in their face and say, hey, wake up, I need you to work for me. So you would want to go to spaces that allow you to get 3 water or 3 electricity early, so you could take this guy. So why this is dangerous, and not necessarily just a good thing, is because eventually, like I said before, once you roll the dice, you're going to have to add them up. So in this case, 5 plus 4 is 9, plus 4 is 13, and then you come up here to the knowledge chart, plus 3 is 16 or more. So I would lose a worker in this case. So if you know you're going to be going early for another guy, you're also going to want to lose intelligence. So in this case, I would want to put my thing here in this spot and give up 3 electricity because it says you lose 2 intelligence and gain 1 worker. Whereas this one, the 3 water, you would gain 2 morale, which obviously is also good to have morale, but if you know you're getting another guy, another worker, you're going to want to lower the intelligence because you don't want them to get too smart to leave the dystopia. And that is essentially the game. You roll, you put your dice somewhere, you do what's given on the space, so in this case take electricity, and you go up in the allegiance. So I'm loyal to this guy, I'm allegiant. It would go up in the allegiance. So it'd go up 1 space there. And there's also, little bonuses here as it goes up, which aren't important now for the example, but once you get to this next section, you have another special bonus. This next section, another special bonus. Alright, key. So once your workers are out, so you start the game with 2. Or even, let's say 3. Let's have 3 dice here. All my 3 dice are out for blue. Red has their 2 dice out. So to retrieve all the workers, I can either pay them in food or bliss, and then they'll be so happy about that, they'll gain 2 morale because I'm paying them. So let's say I had a food. Let's say blue has food. Blue is going to pay the food back. Because they're getting paid, he's going to go up in morale. And now I get all or 1 back, or 2. Like whatever you choose. So I'm going to choose to get 2 back and keep this guy on. Red hasn't gotten any food yet. So red is going to just lose 1 morale. So in this case, red is still at 1, so that's good for red. He's not actually losing anything. So red would stay where he is, take back his dice, boom, boom, and then they do it again. Everything is going to get re-rolled. Then you do a knowledge check. 6 plus 5 is 11, plus 4 is 15, plus 3 is 18, so that's over 16, so unfortunately I would have lost a worker in this case. So why you would want to leave something on. In this case, for example, over here, 1 to 4. Then this next spot is 5 to 8. So now if I know I want to go here again, okay, this happens to be 9. Let's roll that real quick. There we go. So 5. 5 now is this next part. So I would get electricity and lose knowledge, which obviously is good. We want to lose knowledge. So in this case, I would have lost the knowledge. But then maybe I would have wanted to stay there because I know red is going to go there next. So red would have went there next. And now red, yes, they're going to get 2 electricity, but they also gain a knowledge because these workers are so smart. They're talking about how to escape the dystopia. So red would have gained the knowledge, which is bad. And that is, well, I guess we didn't really talk about the bliss people. So the bliss area, oh, actually, yeah, sorry. They also had a square that's got the 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9. But then up here, they have other different little things. For instance, like over here, you can give 3 artifacts that you've collected, and then you gain a point. So bliss, instead of like digging tunnels, you can just give up like artifacts and things to them and gain points. In this case, you would give up 3 resources to gain a point. And that is the game. Keep morale high, intelligence low, focus on a strategy, maybe collect a lot of artifacts to get points up here, or go early for the marketplaces to disable people, go early to the tunnels to get a recruit, and you have now double the bonuses as everybody else. Go early to get more workers so you can do more things at once, because if you're playing smart and you keep low intelligence, you have a higher chance of succeeding with multiple people. and you can focus on your allegiance to be loyal, get it all the way across, and get points.